Most disasters give you a warning you can see. A hurricane on a radar, a tsunami retreating from the shore, a mountain spewing black smoke. We are wired to fear what is towering over us. But the most dangerous threat in Europe isn't a mountain. It doesn't have a peak. It doesn't loom over the horizon. In fact, if you went there today, you would probably drive right past it without even tapping your brakes. You would see coffee shops, bustling ports, and neighborhoods full of life. You would see the normalcy of the Italian coast. But that normalcy is a lie. Just a few miles beneath the pavement, something is pushing upwards. It is a geological pressure cooker that has been building for centuries. And right now, the indicators are flashing red. Geologists aren't just watching this system. They are genuinely afraid of it because the ground isn't just shaking anymore. It is breathing. We are talking about a force capable of altering the global climate, burying cities and collapsing economies overnight. And the terrified part? It is not the famous volcano everyone is looking at. While the world stares at the skyline, the real monster has been hiding under their feet the entire time. And it just woke up. When you think of Italian volcanoes, you immediately think of Vesuvius. It is the classic villain of history class. We all know the story of Pompeii. The ash, the bodies frozen in time, the sheer power of a mountain blowing its top. Vesuvius stands tall and menacing over the Bay of Naples, acting like a lightning rod for our fears. But Vesuvius is, in many ways, a distraction. It is the danger you can see. The real threat is the one you can't. Just to the west lies an area called Campi Flegrei. In English, it means the burning fields. It is not a mountain. It is a depression, a massive bowl-shaped hole in the earth known as a caldera. It is a supervolcano. The difference between a volcano and a supervolcano isn't just size, it's mechanics. A normal volcano builds a cone. A supervolcano is so powerful that when it erupts, it collapses the earth entirely, creating a crater so vast you can fit entire cities inside it. And that is exactly what happened here. A huge chunk of the modern city of Naples, along with the homes of hundreds of thousands of people, is built literally inside the mouth of this sleeping beast. For generations, it has been quiet, but recently, the silence broke. The ground has started to move in a way that defies logic. It's a phenomenon called bradyseism. Think of it like a chest rising and falling with a slow, heavy breath. The entire region is being lifted up by immense pressure from below, then sinking back down when the pressure releases. But lately, it's been doing a lot more rising than falling. For years, scientists struggled to understand exactly what was happening down there. They had data, but it was messy. They had seismic records of over 54,000 earthquakes, but to the human eye, it just looked like noise. Thousands of tiny dots scattered across a map with no discernible pattern. It looked like chaos. It wasn't until around 2022 that we finally found the signal in the noise, and we didn't do it alone. We used artificial intelligence. Researchers took this massive chaotic data set and fed it into machine learning models. They weren't asking the AI to predict an eruption. They simply asked it to find the stress lines. They asked it to look where human eyes couldn't. What the AI found changed everything. Hidden inside that scatter of data was a ghost in the machine, a large circular fault system, a ring-shaped crack in the Earth's crust that perfectly outlined the edge of the submerged caldera. It had been there for thousands of years, buried in the data, invisible to us. This ring fault is essentially a highway for disaster. It is a fracture zone where deep underground pressure, magma, superheated fluids, and volcanic gases can travel with terrifying speed. Instead of the pressure spreading out evenly and dissipating safely through miles of solid rock, it is being funneled and focused directly into this ring. It's like discovering that the foundation of your house isn't just settling, it's cracked, and there is water rushing through the gap. This discovery shifted the focus to the city of Pozzuoli. The AI analysis showed that this city is sitting directly on the intersection of these deep cracks. It is the weakest point in the entire crust. When the magma chamber below expands, Pozzuoli takes the hit first. It is effectively sitting on top of the exhaust pipe of a supervolcano. And this brings us to the terrifying reality of the earthquakes here. We usually judge earthquakes by magnitude. Numbers like 7 or 8 on the Richter scale. We hear about massive quakes in the Pacific and assume that a magnitude 4 or 5 is nothing to worry about. But in Campi Flegrei, the magnitude is irrelevant. The location is everything. In places like Tokyo or California, earthquakes often originate miles deep in the crust. By the time the energy reaches the surface, it has spread out, creating a rolling sensation. It's scary, but well-engineered buildings can ride it out. Here, the earthquakes are incredibly shallow. We are talking about explosions happening just a few thousand feet below the pavement. There is no time for the energy to dissipate. The ground doesn't roll. It kicks. It is a violent vertical jolt, like a truck slamming into a wall at high speed. A magnitude 4 quake here feels apocalyptic because it is happening right under your chair. And this violence is a problem because of what is built on top of it. We aren't talking about modern Japanese skyscrapers designed to sway. We are talking about historic Italy. Heavy stone walls, ancient foundations, brittle iron pipes. These structures were built to last forever, but they were never designed to dance. When the ground kicks up, stone doesn't bend. It cracks. We know this is happening because the land itself is telling us. This isn't theoretical. We have physical proof of this cycle engraved in history. In the center of the danger zone lies the ancient temple of Serapis. It's a Roman ruin, beautiful and old, but if you look closely at the stone columns, you'll see something strange. High up on the pillars, there are small holes, markings left by mollusks, sea creatures. These columns were built on dry land. But over centuries, the ground sank so low that the temple was swallowed by the sea. The mollusks did their work, eating into the stone. Then centuries later, the breathing reversed. The massive hydraulic system beneath the earth pushed the ground back up, lifting the temple out of the water and leaving those seashells high and dry as a warning. The earth here is unstable. It has always been unstable, but the speed of the current movement is what has geologists losing sleep. Since April 2025, the ground has been pushed upwards by 6 inches every single month. In geological terms, that is light speed. Over the course of a year, that adds up to nearly 7 inches of vertical lift. Imagine trying to stretch a concrete building by 7 inches. Foundations shear, gas lines snap, the crust is being stretched to its breaking point, and the newly discovered ring fault is being pulled tighter and tighter. Systems under this much stress rarely fail gracefully. They don't give you a 2-week notice. They snap. A sudden release of gas or a shift in the magma chamber could trigger a cascade of stronger earthquakes, or worse, and this leads us to the ultimate nightmare. Not the geology, but the geography. If the alarms sound, we are looking at the evacuation of the red zone. This isn't a rural farmhouse. This is a dense urban sprawl containing 500,000 people. Directly adjacent is the yellow zone, where another 800,000 people live in the path of potential ash fallout. Evacuating over 1 million people is difficult anywhere, but try doing it in Naples. These are streets that were laid out before the invention of the automobile. They are narrow, winding, and easily choked. It is a recipe for absolute gridlock. If the panic sets in, the roads become parking lots. You could have 500,000 people trapped in their cars, unable to move an inch, while the ground beneath them begins to fail. And the decision to evacuate is almost impossible to make. It's a paradox. If scientists call for an evacuation and the volcano doesn't erupt, they have destroyed the economy. Tourism dies, businesses collapse, and the region turns into a ghost town for nothing. The economic ripple effects would hit the entire European Union. But if they wait too long to be sure, it's too late. This is the reality of life in the shadow of the burning fields. It is a gamble played every single day by millions of people. We have satellites, we have AI, and we have sensors monitoring every vibration of the soil. We are watching the beast more closely than ever before. But surveillance is not control. We can map the cracks, we can measure the lift, and we can predict the stress, but we cannot stop the pressure. The hydraulic lift continues to push. The ring fault continues to weaken, and the city continues to rise. The illusion of the perfect Italian summer, the sun, the sea, the pizza, is just a thin veneer over a terrifying truth. The earth is restless, and in Campi Flegrei, it is waking up. The question isn't if the ground will break. The question is simply when. If you want to keep exploring the hidden dangers of our planet and understand the forces that shape our world, make sure you're subscribed. We are digging deeper into these stories every week, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next. Thanks for watching.